What up, Don Mafia? How you doing? How have you been? Are you high right now? Do you ever get nervous? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the second time that I recorded this video. I was a grade A dumbass, and I forgot to completely record the audio on my first attempt of this XFL video. So this is the dedication that I have for you people. In today's video, I thought it would be appropriate since the XFL is just right around the corner. In fact, kickoff, I believe it's 1 or 4 o'clock Saturday. First game in the inaugural season. I figured that we should look at some of the rule changes. The XFL is talking a huge ass game, saying that they are in a way superior to the NFL, starting with their rules. And they want to make it way more exciting than the NFL by changing some rules that normally piss off normal fans. This is great too, because normally this is a very miserable time during my life, February, especially when it comes to sports. For anybody that likes football, this is exceptionally boring. For football YouTubers, it's even worse, because what the hell am I supposed to talk about? There's really only so many irrelevant free agency take videos that I can put out. So this XFL week 1 is a blessing in disguise. So once again, Vince McMahon is having his second chance of showing the world that football can indeed be played in the spring. That is right. It did happen back in 2001 during his first attempt. How I would describe it is, think of the WWE and the NFL fucking and then having a baby. That's exactly what it was. But unfortunately, like all leagues that are not named the NFL, it ultimately ended up folding. It only lasted 1 full year in 2001. Granted, much better than last year's AAF, which didn't even last its first season. Vince McMahon now has an opportunity to show the world that football can be played in the spring and show that the XFL is going to be staying for a very, very long time. So like I said, I really want to get into a better understanding of some of the differences between XFL rules and the NFL rules. And rather than me just reading off of an article, I thought that it would be better for me to show you from the XFL standpoint. So the XFL actually ended up putting out a video describing some of their abnormal rules that make the difference between them and the NFL. So I really want to let them take it, and then we'll just sort of give my thoughts after we go through it. Since I am using this video, it is about a 99% chance that your boy's about to be demonetized for this video alone. Now, normally that would piss me off, but luckily today we have a sponsor, Tavour. If you love craft beer and you don't have Tavour downloaded on your phone right now, you are a damn amateur. Tavour is an amazing company that allows you to scroll through some of the rarest craft beers in the United States, and then they send it right to your front doorstep. It's a very simple process. You simply just go to the App Store, download Tavour, and then swipe through some of the most rarest craft beers you can find, and then Tavour will collect them, put them in a box, and then send them right to your damn front doorstep. Who doesn't love that? Revolutionizing the beer run. Now, what makes it even better is they are hooking up the Don Mafia. As soon as you download this application, just put in the code Don Mafia, and you're going to get $10 off your first $25 purchase. That's basically like I'm buying you a beer. And who wouldn't want that? So, since this video is not monetized today, do me a favor, sign up for the app, put in code Don Mafia, and enjoy that hoppy goodness. And alright, without further ado, let's just dive into these rules.
This is the XFL double forward pass. This is about offensive creativity. Typically in football, only 1 forward pass is allowed. So if you want to try one of those tricky double passes, that first pass has to be a lateral or a backwards pass. Those are risky. Not in the XFL. In this game, 2 forward passes are allowed as long as the ball doesn't cross the line of scrimmage until that second pass. So the game speeds up.
Well, look at that. 2 forward passes. The best way, or the best comparison that I could sort of fathom here, is looking back to my childhood, when me and the homies started a pickup game in my neighborhood, and we just so happened to be playing the nerds that lived down the street. By that time, we were beating them like 72-0, and they pull off a bullshit play like this. Now, let's say the competition was somewhat identical, then maybe I would have raised a ruckus. But you know what? My mama raised me better than that, and I let it slide. That's exactly what the XFL is doing here. Now, realistically, I do see this being an interesting rule, especially with the lack of talent that the XFL has in their inaugural season. Now, this type of rule probably wouldn't fly in the NFL, especially since you have several receivers who used to be quarterbacks back in college. For example, Julian Edelman. Sanu, I'm pretty sure, has a cannon. John Brown and the Bills threw a touchdown in a damn playoff game. While this rule is interesting, I don't ever see it translating over to the NFL, but I really do want to see it be implemented in the XFL. It's not like it's bullshit. It's not like that they're allowing them to pass the line of scrimmage, so it's not entirely unfair, but it does make things a little interesting.
In the XFL, the scoring team has 3 different point-after-touchdown options, and none of them involve a kicker. The first option, an offensive play from the 2, worth 1 point. The second is a play from the 5. That's worth 2 points. And the third is an aggressive play from the 10-yard line that earns 3 points.
And this is pure mayhem, and I absolutely love it. The number one thing that stood out to me is that the kicker is not involved with points after 6, which is pretty interesting. Because now an XFL kicker has become the highest paying easy job on the face of the planet. We stand corrected because we thought the backup quarterback in the NFL had that title. We're wrong, folks. And so all I'm saying is we better see some damn grit. I mean, if there's 3 points that are possible to be put on the board after you already put up 6, then we better see a hell of a lot of that. Because let's be honest with you. Whoever is coaching in the XFL doesn't want to be there. They want to coach in the NFL. That's exactly what they want to do. So this is their time to shine and to make some risky-ass plays. Summarizing this as a whole, I think that this is better for the game of football because the extra point is probably the most boring thing about football. So really, the XFL hit the nail on the head with this rule.
This is the XFL Overtime. This is about edge-of-your-seat, game-ending action. You see, there's no coin toss, no one possession wins, and no ties. Instead, XFL Overtime is a shootout, so the best players on both sides always determine who wins the game. Now, each offense gets up to 5 one-play possessions to score from the 5-yard line. Teams get 2 points for each successful conversion. Teams alternate plays until one team is mathematically eliminated. The defense can't score, but if they make a stop or create a turnover, that play is dead. The team with the most points after the 5-round shootout wins.
Say that the XFL folds, I will give them one thing. They know how to hype a dude up. I mean, a shootout, 5 rounds have you. Now, this is probably the first rule that I have come across that I would absolutely love to see a version of in the NFL. Nothing pisses me off more than the way that the NFL handles overtime. Imagine a shootout, 5 rounds of it, where one team gets one chance to score and then it switches over to the other team. Best players consistently on the field. With this rule alone, we are going to be seeing triple digits regularly in the XFL, which is going to be just another reason why I am going to watch it. And hopefully, it is going to be a rule that is going to allow them to, at the very least, have 2 seasons. I am an absolute huge fan with this.
The XFL Kickoff. This is about creating more opportunities for big plays. To eliminate high-speed collisions, the XFL is shortening the distance between opposing plays. The coverage team starts on the opponent's 35-yard line, and the return team starts on their own 30. When the ball is first kicked, only the kicker and receiver can move. But once it's caught or is on the ground for 3 seconds, all players are free to run, block, and tackle.
Now, this is what I'm talking about. We all know watching the NFL that a kickoff return for a touchdown is very rare. They're few and far between. Now, a lot of that probably has to do with the fact that the kicking teams, 6'4", 230+ pound men, are in full sprints right before the returner even has a chance to catch the ball. No one likes a fair catch. That's bullshit. So now what the XFL is doing, they're making it very interesting. Now they're completely switching the momentum and giving the advantage to the returning team by not allowing the kicking team's defenders to move an inch until the ball is caught or until the ball is on the ground for 3 seconds. This is going to completely switch up momentum, and you're going to have to rely on the defender's athleticism to stop the returner, which is going to, like they said, call for a lot more exciting returns.
This is the XFL punt. This is about coaches thinking twice about punting or going for it on 4th down. In the XFL, if a punt goes into the end zone, the receiving team gets the ball on their 35. And forget about the old coffin corner kicks. Punts that travel out of bounds are placed at the 35 too, or where the ball left the field, whichever is better for the receiving team. Plus, the punting team can't cross the line of scrimmage until the ball is kicked, so the receiving team is less likely to call for a fair catch and more likely to return it.
And I got 3 words for you. Fuck the punts. There's nothing in the world that pissed me off more when my team punted. And now don't get me wrong, I absolutely loved watching the opposing team punt because that was just my defense completely balling out. But I am welcoming this rule with open arms. This sort of reminds me of a video I watched 3 or 4 years ago highlighting this high school team that absolutely never punted. Now maybe it was because the coach was an idiot, or maybe it was because the coach had a big old set of stones on him. That's exactly how football should be played, with risk and balls. From what I've seen so far of these rules that the XFL is highlighting, it seems like that they have one main goal, is to speed up the game and make it a bit more high scoring than the NFL, which I am 110% down with. Now, there are several other rules that we can go over, but I figured I would rather just link the article that I got this information off of in case you wanted to look at it yourself. Some notable rules is, one rule in particular is it is going to be a continuous running clock with the exception to the last 2 minutes in the second quarter and the last 2 minutes in the fourth quarter where they call it the comeback period. Then more importantly, receivers only need 1 foot in bounds for it to be considered a catch, and teams only get 2 timeouts per half. So this really solidifies the fact that the XFL is coming out here and they want to make it exciting ass football to watch. And well guys, the NFL is over for the season and the XFL is upon us. Kickoff is on Saturday. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about some of these rules. Do you think that some of these rules should be implemented in the NFL next year, or eventually at least? What would work? What would not? Give me your thoughts. Say that you're new here. My name is Dan Mitchell, and I consistently put out NFL videos and football videos in general. If that's your cup of tea, then I highly suggest you subscribe to the channel. More importantly, like this video. And once again, thank you for tuning in to the Don Mafia Report. We'll see you next time. Deuces.